What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Zoommates podcast. This is the podcast where we're just trying not to get canceled. I'm one of your hosts, Nick Eaton, and to my side, I got my main man, 100 Grand, best friend for over 20 years. In the streets, they call him Cinco the Villain. The ladies call him the Philosopher Chocolates, and Nestle Snipes, and Dark Chocolate Mandingo. It is Dark Tangy himself. What up, Phil?
What's up, bro? Like, I mean, where did that where did that come from?
Nigga,
Anyway,
hey, hello. I was in a thread on Facebook. It's in this marriage. It's called Real Talk, Real Marriage, Real Talk, Real Marriage, or something like that. It's a marriage.
Oh
group.
yeah, I think I've seen that one.
Yeah. And they were talking about giving a shout out to all the dark skinned husbands out there. And nigga, some of the names they were coming up with, I was like, first off, this is an insult to brown brothers. And they said, she said her husband was AKA Dark Chocolate Mandingo. I said, what in the fuck? And I said, let me explain something to you. As a member of the actual Mandinka tribe, let me just go ahead and say this.
Here we go.
It ain't just dark skinned niggas out here killing it. It's all I'm saying. Y'all gonna show some brown brothers. Bro. Hey man, brown brothers have never really gotten a nigga. We went in the 90s, we went from Al B. Sure to motherfucking Wesley Snipes in like 2 seconds. The brown brothers ain't got no type of damn love all this time. I'm like, this is some bullshit. Like,
hey man. Hey, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Y'all getting real life love. It's ladies out here, they will put you in the they will bring you over into the dark skin category because and so in Alabama, look, bro, in Alabama it's like this. You either light skin or you dark skin. So
say something. No, that and to everybody that's watching,
well, Montgomery
felt is not bullshitting because I am nowhere near light skin. When I got to Montgomery, my freshman year of college, I got the light skin treatment.
He turned into G Money. He became G Money from New Jack City.
Yo, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. When did I become light skin? I'm getting a light skin treatment. What is going on here?
He is G Money. They call you a red bone,
right? Man, listen. Let me tell you something. It's two things I never thought I'd be called in my life, and I got called 2 weeks of being at Alabama State. I got called red bone and thick. And first off, you don't ever call a grown ass man thick. That's the worst fucking shit you can call bro. Somebody.
Dude, no, don't ever call a nigga. Don't ever call a nigga that, man. Don't do that.
Oh my God.
Don't do that.
Never call a grown ass man
Please.
thick.
Listen, don't do that. That's
listen.
I don't like it.
I don't like it at all. I
like
truly triggered at that point. Like, I do not call me fucking thick. Like, we're gonna have an issue.
Hell no.
What's going on, bro?
Man, what's going on, man? Like another week, man. We stepping out, man, making big moves. You know what I'm saying? First of all, I gotta shout out everybody who if y'all don't know, I'm a rap artist. I'm a hip hop artist. And what I did this past week, I re-released. I should have mentioned it on the show last week, but I'm terrible at promoting myself.
You are.
But I re-released my album from 2015 called Unsafe Harbor. It's on all streaming platforms, on Apple Music. You know what I'm saying? It had been taken down for some for some legal reasons. And I got all that worked out and I was able to re-release it. And it's been getting some good fan response, man. Some people who've been rocking with me for years love it, man. So like if you're listening to this podcast, you never heard any of my music. I actually have all of my music that I've released commercially is on streaming platforms now. And that's really the first time that I can say that because I went back and put Channel 5, the first segment, which was my first solo joint from back in 2011. Yeah, it was like 20. Yeah, well, it was 2011. It came out like February 2011.
Right, you put out Get Back to Real in 2010.
Yeah,
and then put the whole album out top of 2011. You're right.
Yeah. And then you know what I'm saying. So Unsafe Harbor now. That's my 2015 project. Some would say my magnum opus. I don't say that, but a lot of folks, really, who like that album. They say it's my finest work to date. So I appreciate everybody for listening to it. If you haven't listened to it, please check it out. And then I thank y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? I always get kind of nervous when I start self-promoting because I just like, do I look, I don't want to be that guy. You know what I'm saying?
Fuck that shit. Okay, let me say y'all something. Outside of Felt being my best friend, I am a fan of Felt Fives. I'm a genuine fan of his music.
Appreciate it, brother.
So he doesn't have to, he ain't got to say it. I'll say it. First and foremost, I'm glad because I always felt like you did yourself a bit of disservice by not putting out Channel 5 and not pushing it more than you did.
Yeah.
I understand the circumstances behind why, but I still felt like, that was a great album. It was a great first offering. Unsafe Harbor is your Illmatic.
Oh man, that's
Unsafe Harbor is your blueprint.
Wow, that's a big statement.
If I say this much, if Unsafe Harbor is your speaker box, Channel 5 is your Aquemini.
Wow, man.
And so I listen. The music business, the landscape of the music business has changed. Nobody's asking anybody to go out and buy the physical CDs right now. I would say this much. If you are listening, if you are an earshot or eyeshot of this video, go to Spotify, look up Felt 5, play those two albums. And I swear to you, if you do not feel like those are not two solid, two exceptional efforts, I would love to debate you track for track on it, because we talk all about hip hop and there's not being any real music being released anymore. And, man, I just wish it was the 90s again and all that stuff. And that's right. Go and listen to those two albums and tell me that real music doesn't exist. And that's God truth. And I am not the biggest hip hop fan on earth. That's just the damn truth. But
very R&B, brother.
Very R&B. But that is seriously, that's your Illmatic, that's your blueprint, that's your speaker box. Thanks, mean
man.
that.
I appreciate that.
Like legitimately mean that. And yeah, like I don't know what else to say. Anybody, all you have to do is just look. I mean, anyway, my point in all of that is I'm glad that the albums are out. I know, Phil, you've got some other ventures that you're working on. Congratulations on this coming week, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I'll let you, if and when you feel comfortable talking about that, I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah.
But I will say I'm glad that you're putting music out again. And I hope that Unsafe Harbor isn't your last album.
It's not, man. I am actually working on a new EP. Now I don't know if that's gonna morph into an album, but right now what I'm projecting is like a 3 to 5 song EP. It's gonna be focused, you know what I mean? Like I like to make like tight, succinct works. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to just put out some songs, that don't have anything to do with each other. I like to tell a story, whether loose or whatever, in it, so you can kind of gauge where I'm at. So like it's some material that I've worked on that I might put out as a single, because like as you know how it is, as you work on an album, stuff changes.
Yeah.
And some things that you might have been like, oh man, that's gonna be the intro, that's gonna be this, that's gonna be that, and it ends up not fitting. So
even though
where I'm at,
I'll tell you this much. You know what my joint is, right? I think a lost art in music is interludes and skits.
Yeah.
And your skit, you know what I'm talking about. Bitch, I'm doing numbers. I
never put that out.
I get that it didn't fit, but damn it, that shit is one of my favorite skits.
I might just put that out like on my Instagram or something, just for fun, because like what it was when I worked on that one, I meant to, like, that was gonna be on Unsafe Harbor. That was originally gonna be on Unsafe Harbor, but the tone of the album started to change. It started to get darker, and I was like, this will kind of throw things off if I put this on here.
I'll tell you
Not to
right
say
now.
that it's not necessarily a dark album. It's just real. But I mean,
No, it's
like
a very real album.
it was too, jokey joke for that.
Yeah,
You know what I
no.
mean?
I get it. And I'll go ahead and say this: my two favorite tracks, well, my three, because I really have a plethora of favorites, but so that I'm not too, because I do have a bias. I'll be honest, but I will say that "Superb Natural" is one of my top three on that record. I've always loved that song.
Wow.
I've always loved "Superb Natural."
Wow.
Um, the title track, "Unsafe Harbor," and then I've told you my favorite song of yours, period, is "Warehouse," and I think that speaks to, if you're an adult, and I don't want to make this the whole show about talking about the album, because I know we
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
lot of stuff on the docket that we want to do,
Yeah,
but
we got a lot of stuff, yeah.
the reason that I say "Warehouse" is my favorite, is because knowing your story, knowing where you came from, like I genuinely felt that song. But on the same token,
I went through that. That's
it's
a
so
real
right. It's damn near autobiographical,
yeah.
right? But I know so many people who have the same. I go through that same feeling,
Yeah.
right? I'm not. I'm a desk. I'm my corporate life. I'm a white collar desk guy, but I still feel it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So again, "Unsafe Harbor" is out. It's worth the listen. And like I said, please, if you don't feel the same way, debate me about it. I'd like, because the other thing is, what I will say is about Felt as an artist, he welcomes the criticism. He wants to know why, if somebody's not feeling something, why they're not feeling it. And we
Exactly.
don't look at it as hating or anything like
Yeah.
that. It's
Yeah.
genuinely, because as creatives, we always want to grow, right?
Right. Right.
So
Exactly.
I would suggest, I will humbly ask that you listen to that album, not as a chore, but as an actual experience, because that's what it is. So
Thank you, man.
that's
Man,
all I wanted to say on
I'm gonna hire Nick as my publicist because I'm telling you, I've not gotten, I've heard people talk glowingly about my music before, but man, like that made me feel like I was on Dissect or something. You know that podcast Dissect where they go on albums and stuff, man. Like that was dope, man. Like
I'm not gonna blow no
appreciate
smoke up nobody's ass for no reason. I'm not just
yeah,
gonna say, "Oh yeah, man, it's dope, it's crazy." No, I'm gonna tell
yeah,
you exactly why I love it in the way that it is, right?
yeah, yeah,
So I'm not just blowing smoke here. I'm really not. So that's all I'm
yeah.
saying. But just check
Thanks
out the
again,
album.
man.
Yeah,
Thanks
for sure.
again, man. And one thing about it, like, so I just had one more thing to say. Like, I produced every track on that album. I mixed every track on that album. Like, I poured my heart and soul into it. So, I mean, if you want to listen, hey man, God bless. Thank you. And so but anyway, man, like, enough about me. You know what I'm saying? Because we've had a lot of stuff going on to this week.
Yeah.
So like, what are some of the things that we had going on this week, man? One more thing. I have one more thing to say. A brother quit his job this week. So I quit my job and I'm going into a whole nother business venture. Nick kind of alluded to it earlier. So if you're out there, man, just wish your boy well, man. Like you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to do new things, make new moves. It's not music related, but it's business related.
It's
You know
definitely
what I'm
business
saying?
related.
We making things happen. Money will come to you and me easily, frequently, and in abundance. I've been trying to stay up on my affirmations. Some people think that's some bullshit,
No, fuck
but
that.
at the same time, if you keep speaking that life on yourself, that's what you're going to attract. I definitely believe in the law of attraction and the law of, karma, you know what I'm saying? Not so much to the point where I don't believe in medicine and all that old type of dumb shit. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to think positively about yourself and your journey. If you don't,
Mm-hmm.
who gonna do it? You know what I'm saying? But
True.
yeah, man, like, so just wish your boy well, and enough, like I said, enough about me, man. So this week, speaking of music, we had a new verses this week, bro. And it was some controversy about that verses too. But before we get to that, so what do you think about it just from a musical standpoint? Fat Joe versus Ja Rule. I'm not gonna say the name that I like to call Ja Rule because I ain't got no beef with Ja Rule, bro. Like he a little bit corny, bro. But other than that, man,
Let's say something. Ja Rule is corny. Yes.
yeah, he corny.
What I will give Ja Rule credit for, especially when you look in the landscape of performance nowadays, I think that Ja reminded us why Ja was as hot as he was at that time. Because you got to think, man, that like first and foremost, I was always conflicted when it came to Ja Rule because his first album, Veni Vidi Vici,
It was good.
Loved that. It was one of my
yeah.
favorite albums that came. I understand for commercial purposes why he did the switch up, but he lost me as a hardcore fan, right? He lost me as a hardcore fan. Yeah. But even when he was doing all that, Ja Rule reminded us during Versus that there's a reason I was as hot as I was because that motherfucker can perform.
Yeah. You got to give him that, man. Like, I don't know what happened with that NBA game where he got clowned. I mean, like, but you know,
far and few between where you've seen a bad performance from Ja Rule.
Yeah, like you know, the dude can perform, man. Like
that motherfucker, his energy is crazy.
Yeah,
bruh, still in shape. He's still, you know,
he's in great shape.
Walking. He's like, man. Like you got to give props when props are due, bro. Like, Ja can still perform his ass off. You know, Nick's still out there looking young. You know what I mean? Like you know, it looked like it was at least 2006.
That's why I'm like, yeah, he don't really look different. You know what I'm saying? So like he looks like himself. You know what I'm saying? So you know, shout out to Ja Rule for that, man. Like the performance aspect. From a music standpoint,
I'm a 50 Cent fan. Always have been. But see, I've been a 50 Cent fan since How to Rob, right?
Yeah.
I was a 50 fan before the Shady Aftermath deal, before the beef got huge, anything like that. So I'm a kind of always rock with 50.
Boy, do I have on earth. Boy, do I have a funny story about How to Rob. But anyway.
But you know, that being said, it's kind of hard to give Ja those props with that. But yeah, shouts to him. But go ahead.
What started that beef between them two, man? Like what started that? You remember? Because I don't remember where it started at. You know what I mean? But I do remember where it went.
The beef was Preem. Preem and 50 had beef. Preem bankrolled a lot of the shit that bankrolled a lot of the shit that Murder Inc. was doing, and Irv Gotti had a very close relationship with Preem.
DJ Premier.
No. The drug dealer Preem, the nigga that got him. So that
it's just clarifying for the audience. Okay.
Yeah, 50 knew the nigga who stole Ja Rule's chain. And so it was always a bunch of little stuff that kind of like they just didn't fuck with each other. The fact, and Irv Gotti admitted to this, they tried their best. And you got to remember at this time, Irv Gotti, Ja Rule, Murder Inc., white hot. They tried their best to blackball 50. And then I'll say this much. Folks didn't want to fuck with 50. I remember 50 talking about he actually had a meeting with Diddy about about signing the Bad Boy.
Yeah.
This was after he got shot. So of course 50 comes in, he's got the bulletproof vest on. This nigga got grenades and shit on his shit. He got all these niggas around him with all his gun. He said Puff comes into the office, sits down, looks around, and was like, I can't do this again. And got up and walked. But you know, fifth guy with Eminem, it was a big thing about the signing, and I'll never forget because I had this XXL. I had this XXL where and Ja Rule goes in and he says on there, I'll never forget that interview. If Eminem and Dr. Dre greenlight 50 dissing me, then I'm just gonna have to take their whole organization down. And there are two people that you just don't tell them what they're gonna do with their own artists. because for what it was
Bad
worth,
move.
it had been
Terrible
relatively quiet. 50
Terrible
wasn't,
move.
you know, it had been relatively quiet, but then you go in and you just like, oh, that's what we doing? Oh, okay. Dr. Dre is like, nigga, I survived Suge Knight.
Right. Who
And
is you, nigga?
Right. And Eminem is like, well, fuck you. Get him 50.
Bad
and it was the work. Nigga, everybody had disrespect. Nigga, when Busta Rhymes called him Jeffrey. I said, when you made Busta Rhymes start beef.
No, Busta Rhymes don't beef with nobody, man. Like if you notice.
Okay. I said, all right, it's a wrap. And he couldn't come back. Even though I thought I loved the beat for Clapback, and I love the song New York, which ironically, if
Clapback was corny to me, but
I love the beat for Clapback. I didn't like the song.
Yeah.
The beat was fire. But see, I think I know the reason why subconsciously you didn't like Clapback too.
Why?
Because when they did Clapback, the version that got released was a raw version. I found that out maybe like 2 or 3 years ago.
What?
They were trying to get the song out so fast so he could have something to get back at 50. They released the unmixed version.
There's nothing I hate more than unmixed, just unmixed music. Like, I mean, you know, sometimes you can tell when people do those radio freestyles or whatever. That's cool because you know it's a radio freestyle. But if you release something out as a song, bro, like you can't do that.
They were just grasping for straws.
Especially when you trying to make, you trying to make the hook pop. We gonna clap back. We gonna clap. It sound all crunchy and shit. No, man.
I thought New York was great. I thought New York was great.
It was a hot ass beat. Yeah, it was a hot ass beat.
But I feel I hate to say it. I would have loved that song if it had been Fat Joe, Jadakiss, and 50. I feel like 50 could have murdered that song better than Ja.
Absolutely.
Like,
absolutely could have. Yeah, man.
Yeah, but anyway, no. Go ahead. I'm sorry because I trailed way off on that. You know me, I was fully invested in that G Unit Murder Inc. beef. Like
I you know what? I just wanted, and you did exactly what I needed you to do because I wanted to tell the people exactly where this came from. You know, in a story, man. Like, you know what I'm saying, in a concise manner. So you did that, bro. I appreciate that. So anyway, from a music standpoint, though, what are we thinking? Because one thing I can say about Fat Joe be having hits that people forgot about, man. Like Fat Joe he got records. You know what I mean? Because everybody was like, oh man, Ja Rule gonna take it, even though I don't like Ja Rule. Ja Rule gonna take it. Like people were saying literally that. Like, I don't like Ja Rule, but he got more hits than Fat Joe. But surprisingly, man,
I thought that was probably the most equal verses I've seen.
Yeah.
Period. That's that in terms of not in terms of the actual verses itself, the experience of it and everything that is top 3, but in terms of how equally yoked the artists were. I thought that was perfect. Now I will say this: the thing about them that makes it so equal is that Ja had a great run, and a lot of those songs were on Ja's album. I'll say the difference is most of those hits were on Ja's album, but it was mostly collaborations. It was the same thing with Fat Joe. It's just that a lot of Fat Joe shit was on other folks' songs, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, and it just, to be honest, when you look at Fat Joe's catalog, he did not save a lot of his hits for himself. He was either on somebody else's project, or it was a Terror Squad album, or like he was very. And that in itself, like I think him, and probably the only person more than him that is just good about collaborations is Ludacris, where okay, you get Fat Joe on the record, you're gonna get some bump to it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. I think that's why people look at Fat Joe, because it wasn't on his records.
Yeah.
Like, think if he had saved all them songs for himself.
Yeah.
Then we're talking a whole nother thing. You don't even question whether or not he and Ja can go back and forth. What made Ja hot was all the collaborations, but they were all on his albums.
Yeah.
And I think that's more of a testament to Irv Gotti than anything.
Another thing is, like, a lot of Ja's hits were front loaded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were very, like, in one area, like a couple years. It was like probably a 4
It was like a 4-year span.
Yeah, like a 4-year span. Fat Joe got hits like that came out last year. He got Lean Back, when the Lean Back came back, like in the early 2000s and stuff.
Yep.
Like, like, so you
Make It
talking about
Rain.
spanning, you talking
Make
about
It Rain
spanning,
changed the culture.
yeah, Make It Rain like came out like, so he just had hits from like the early 2000s, then the
Shit with Big
almost
Pun.
2010, the Big Pun run, like, you know what I'm saying? So that's basically what Versus is about to me. Like, you're able to span, the whole gamut of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So shouts out to Fat Joe, man. Like, I mean, he's the winner in my book. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
now, unfortunately, Black Twitter did not think that Fat Joe was the winner, and that was because Fat Joe was in war mode, and he said a few things about Lil Mo. So, but shout out to Lil Mo also, by the way, because she sounded amazing. So her voice is still crazy.
Oh, Mo's voice always gonna
Like,
be crazy.
yo, man, like, you gotta give your hats off to these artists that's been out the game for a minute, man, and people act like they're of no use anymore, including Fat Joe, obviously.
Hey, he ain't had to call them dusty bitches though.
Dog, he didn't have to do it, dog. He didn't have to do it. He didn't have to say that they got him from the trap house, bro. Like, I was like,
hey, but you know what's so funny? For a little while, especially when I was deep in my music run, I low key had a cool little not relationship, like fucking like a kind of a rapport with Lil Mo, and it got me thinking about a time where Mo got into it on Twitter. I was actually about to post this on Facebook a few days ago. I'm glad I said it for the podcast. Mo got into it on Twitter with someone that you and I both know very well.
Really?
And they're going back and forth on Twitter. I hop in Twitter and I'm like, yo, what's going on, man? I log into Twitter and I see, my homegirl such and such and my Momo going back, because that's why I used to always call her my Momo.
Yeah.
And my homegirl and my Momo going back and forth. Both of them motherfuckers inbox me talking about she started it.
We're gonna have to have an off mic about who that is, but
oh my god, bro, when I tell you, it was oh my god, I could not believe it. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So that's always funny, but Mo has always killed it. I just sent it to you in the private chat. But Mo has always killed it. So I'm glad to see Mo still getting her props. I'm glad to see Mo still doing her thing, because that one thing about it, man, that voice ain't changed. That voice, Mo still, man, Mo is still dope as shit, and she's always put out dope projects. I will forever be a Lil Mo fan.
Yeah.
Period. I'll forever be a Lil Mo fan, because to me, she was one of the few artists that could do R&B and hip hop, but it not be corny as shit. Because that's where she came from. She came from hip hop. You get what I'm saying? But she still stayed true to her R&B roots. So, that's just me.
Hey, man. Shouts out to Lil Mo. Shouts out to Ashanti. Shout out to Fat Joe being, like, even though he messed up with the Lil Mo thing, boy, but he came with the Birkin bags for the ladies, man. Like, I mean, dog, like, yo, he was stunting on Ja. He was, that's what I said, man. Like, yo.
I wonder, does Ja have a podcast?
I don't know.
I know Fat Joe has a podcast.
He does.
I'd love to hear. I'd really love to see a Ja Rule podcast.
Oh,
I really would. You just saw the chat?
I just saw the chat.
Yeah. I'm talking about going back and forth, and then both of them hit me up. It's her fault. She started it. I'm like, both of y'all chill out. And then
I'm gonna just say this: one of these people can sing a whole lot better than the other.
I'm gonna leave that alone.
The person who can sing a lot better than the other is Lil Mo. But anyway.
But for what it's worth, after speaking in the inbox, that person did go back and apologize to Mo.
Okay.
So
that's good. I'm glad they squashed that.
And let me just go ahead and say, this is a little off the rails. This is the one thing what I do miss about being actively involved in the music business is, with the exception of a couple of fuck niggas, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I was able to actually establish a rapport and a relationship with some of the folks in the business that I had looked up to for a very long time.
Yeah.
And there was some folks that I feel were really, really genuine people, people that I still, keep up with to a certain point today. But, like Noel Gordine, who just had his birthday a couple of days ago, man. Solid dude, man. He's actually still in Huntsville. He's still doing his thing. Lil Mo is another one. Kiki Wyatt is another one. Like, I got a
Anthony.
chance.
Anthony David too, right? Don't you know him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I opened up for Anthony. Oh my God, man. I opened up for Anthony back when Sugar Hill was still popping in Atlanta. I opened up for Anthony like 2 or 3 times, and that dude is still out there doing his thing, man. It's to me the real testament of people that are musicians and artists is when the spotlight is no longer on you, when you got to get out there and you got to grind every day. Like Eric Roberson still grinding, Raheem Devon still grinding, Anthony David, PJ Morton, Lil Mo, like Cy Smith, all these folks, they're out here and they still grinding. Kiki's still grinding. She keep having babies, but Kiki must have that on thigh, boy, because she about on 11th child at this point.
Kiki grinding, boy. That's a double entendre for you.
That's a double entendre, yeah.
She grinding, boy.
But that she still got that damn voice.
Yeah, she does.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, so when the spotlight isn't on you anymore and you're still out there doing your thing, that to me, that is a testament of what this business is about. So that's one of the things that I do miss from music. And folks always talk about, man, you gonna bring something back out? Nigga, I'm still retired. But I do I miss that aspect of the business.
Yeah, man. So anyway, man, like that, you know what I'm saying? That's so like I said, I think Fat Joe took that one. Much respect to the OGs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we appreciated it. It was, verses are always cool, man. I just always like that we go back and celebrate our people, because one thing that I always had a beef with in hip hop culture is that we always throw people away. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
hip hop is bad about trying to throw people away after a certain amount of time, acting like oh man, you washed and blah 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 this and you can't do this, that, and the third, you know what I'm saying, if it's over a certain time span. And that's just not true, man. Like,
yeah,
people still have use, people are still, out here, and it's good to see, the OGs out here thriving, you know what I'm saying? So,
and it seems to be just in our culture, bro, because I'm not being funny. U2 is still popping to these folks. Tool, Nirvana, they're still held in high regard,
right.
and they're held in high regard by the next generation as well. You get what I mean? And I just wish that's something that we would get over. I do think that Versus has been pretty good about bringing that back to the forefront. I think we've had some pockets of it, like when TV1 first started doing Unsung.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And now Versus is kind of like the the next generation of that.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad that these folks are getting the roses that they deserve. Like, particularly if Versus didn't do anything else, that I'm extremely grateful for is that DMX got to have his roses before he passed.
Absolutely.
Right. Man. And to me, that was worth, to me, that moment was worth all of it, because I think because of some of the unfortunate antics of DMX, I think his legacy got sullied a lot. And I think that Versus kind of reminded everybody, like, nah, man, he was still that dude. Like,
yeah. Absolutely. And we got to see that live and in color, man. And it was cool to see him and Snoop, together, because that's a matchup that you don't really see, that you will, wouldn't expect, for one thing, and that you just, it was cool to see the difference in the two, and it still came together nicely. So
yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
Much respect to Versus as a platform. You know what I'm saying? But on to things that I do not respect. You know, your boy, y'all governor. Not to say that our governor is any damn better, because she not, but damn 10 head Tate is what I like to call him.
Tater tot. That's what
Tater
everybody here
tot.
calls him.
Okay, Tater Tot Greaves, sitting up here sidestepping in his, when they ask him what is he gonna do about people in the state dying and being hospitalized in an exponential rate, and he talking about, well, I think everybody should go talk to their doctor and take personal accountability. I'm like, okay. So the dude who was interviewing was like, so that means you're gonna do nothing. What I think is that this personal responsibility. So you're not gonna do anything. Okay, all right. So that's a quick hitter. Unless Nick, you have something to say because it's your state. So I definitely want you to expound upon this and see what you think because you've known about Tate Greaves bullshit.
You just gonna keep calling him Greaves, huh?
Yeah, because I have a grievance with that fool. What is his name? I don't know.
It's Tate Reeves. It's Tate Reeves.
Tate Reeves. Fuck that nigga. I don't care what his name is because I have
So,
grievances with that motherfucker. So he Tate Greaves to me. But anyway.
okay. So let me say this. This is a prime example of what happens when everybody gets on the train of this politician based on who's in the White House. Tate Reeves got in office at a time where legitimately he barely beat Bruce Waller, who was probably more of a John Kasich type of Republican, where it's like he's still a Republican. He has some liberal views. He has some actually kind of progressive views on things like infrastructure and Medicaid. This is the same Tate Reeves that rejected the Medicaid expansion, which would have brought an additional $6 billion in Medicaid funding to the state of Mississippi. But because he retweeted good old Donald Trump, the right in the state voted him in. And then they got pissed off at him. They got pissed off at him because he supported the changing of the Mississippi flag that still carried the Confederate flag. And so since that time, he's been trying to do everything that he possibly could to get back in the good graces of them because they realize that he's fucking stupid. And I say this as a person, full disclosure, before anybody comes back and says anything, I say this as a person who attended his inauguration, his Christmas party, and talk with him face to face. Wow. And one thing I will say is when I talked to him, and he shook my hand and he said, "Thank you for your vote." I said, "I didn't vote for you, but you're the governor now. Do what you say you're going to do and take Mississippi to the next level. Otherwise, I'll see you at the next gubernatorial, period." He talked about his, changing our public universities to having a flat fee bachelor's degree for $20,000. That never happened. His getting Mississippians back to work, that never happened. Even his attempt at ending the additional aid for unemployment, it's like, oh yeah, that's gonna get folks back to y'all take any of these jobs, and folks still didn't. Speaking of which, that kind of happened nationwide. So now that those states have killed those benefits for folks, and you still can't get people at McDonald's, what's y'all excuse now? Because they're not getting the expanded unemployment.
Yeah.
So it's just a bunch of fails that Tate Reeves has had as governor. And quite frankly, there are a lot of people in his own party that want him gone. And the only reason that some of them did not beat him is because they weren't endorsed by Trump. Well, now you don't have that option. So hopefully, whether it's whoever the next governor of Mississippi is, at this point, it cannot be worse than him. It just can't be. And I've seen the landscape of both sides. He's the absolute worst. He's a clown. Everybody knows he is. He's highly unpopular among his own party. So he's grasping for straws right now. He's grasping for straws. Now, I'll say this much. You can talk about coronavirus and people getting vaccinated and the schools being forced open. What was amazing to that is you always have to look at the hypocrisy within a person who sets these type of precedents. He was one of the first people vaccinated. His daughter's school.
Isn't that funny?
Isn't that funny? His daughter's school wasn't required to go back. They were okay with his daughter's school staying virtual while simultaneously saying that he would hold back aid from those schools who did not reopen doors. You got to look at that type of stuff. See, we're not in the age of, yeah, I can just cover this shit up and it doesn't come out till 20, 30 years later. No, we're in the age now where people will out you on your shit in real time. So the next gubernatorial race in Mississippi will be really interesting. And I'm really interested to see how it goes.
So I just got to say, man, like, Tate Reeves, because I have grievances with your bitch ass. You know, you can sit your ass down somewhere. So, you know what I'm saying? So, but, you know, speaking of people who need to sit their ass down somewhere, and still on the subject of the COVID-19, we spoke earlier about how it's dope that, you know, that we give flowers to our performers, you know what I'm saying, who have been in the game a minute. But I'm about to take away some flowers from some of these motherfuckers right now. And, you know, Nick Minaj, step your ass up to the plate. Now sit your ass down. Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, you sitting you sitting your ass up here talking about what your cousin and them saw. You know, your cousin and them you know, had what did she say? She said her cousin had his balls swollen up and he was impotent and his girl you know, canceled the wedding because he took the vaccine. So I'm gonna say you have two people here who have taken the vaccine. Neither, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm just gonna
speak for myself. I don't have no problems.
I ain't no problems either. Let me explain something to you. Your cousin was lying to you, Nikki.
Your cousin was lying. You know what? They tried to the fucking Trinidadian government tried to find evidence of this, and they couldn't find any. It was unsubstantiated.
Are we surprised that Nikki or someone that she's related to has a penchant for lying?
No, we're not.
Or someone she's associated with.
I'm not surprised, but what I am surprised and dismayed about is that the Trinidadian government felt the need to investigate this and waste time. And that poor brother was on TV. He was just like, this is such. He said it was such a waste of time, but we take this seriously. So
this is what's funny to me. What's funny to me is Fox News. Now, here's the deal. Do I think that, okay, everyone has a right to a voice. Everyone has a right to their opinion. I think very often, and the Democratic Party has a really big problem with this. Rather than talk to the experts, when it comes to Black folks, they tend to talk to more celebrities than anything, right?
Yeah.
Rather than the Black business leaders, the Black economists, the Black scientists, they tend to talk to celebrities about this type of stuff. Yeah. I had a real problem with the fact that Joe Biden has yet to sit down with someone like a Cornel West or even a Tavis Smiley or a Roland Martin and really just dig into, that, or, bring up, we always talk about Dr. Fauci. What about Dr. Ebony Hilton? Gorgeous. COVID specialist. She's still very qualified with it, but that's a gorgeous woman. But, he sat down with Cardi B. And so I have a problem when both do it, but I have a real problem when Fox News criticize the left for sitting down and talking with Cardi B, but yet they could not wait to have so many thought pieces with Nicki Minaj. And I think, if anything, and this is why largely I think a lot of Black folks become apolitical.
Yeah.
For this reason, when It's whenever it comes to black issues, both sides tend to bring some of the most unqualified folks to speak on black issues. And I'm tired of every time you want to bring somebody to talk about black issues, their name tends to start with Lil or Young or something like
or
there
Minaj,
aren't any or Minaj. Like there aren't
Minaj.
any black folks that are not qualified to speak on this stuff. And she made a false claim, and they continue to run with this story. Now, I will say this: you have the absolute right to or to not get the vaccine.
Yeah,
I said this a couple shows before. You choose not to get it, I got no sympathy for you. None. The fact that Nicki Minaj would say that bullshit and that her drifters, her followers, her disciples just run with anything she says a little bit more about society than I'd like to admit. At the end of it, Nicki Minaj is grasping for some relevancy. Yep. Nicki Minaj cannot handle that she is now in a position that she once joked, the older female rappers were in when she was hot.
Yep.
And she's looking, and she's also trying to deflect from her husband, but that's a whole nother thing.
Boy, we not even gonna get started on that one.
So, black folks,
Jesus,
black folks, listen to me and listen to me well. There are, if you don't trust, because here's my thing about it. Do I personally care if someone that's talking about this that is qualified to talk about it is black or not? I don't. But there are many black people that are more than qualified to talk about these types of things. Do not just hop on the first celebrity that says whatever they, and that's for or against the virus, for or against the vaccine.
Do actual
talk to the
research.
Professionals.
To speak with. I mean, we'll speak with a doctor.
Speak with nobody. Damn blue. The nigga had a set of blue balls, maybe, but I have a feeling that he was impotent before.
Look, I'm gonna say this. This is according to CNN, and say what you want about them. They're actually a news source and not a damn celebrity. There's no link between the COVID-19 vaccines and infertility, as the Center for Disease Control and Prevention explained in August. No link. It is unfounded. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm tired of Nicki Minaj. Why are people still talking about Nicki Minaj?
I don't know. I mean,
was it a slow news week?
Dog, her music.
When y'all start listening to Nicki?
Well, let me say this, in lieu of the barbs coming from me.
Fuck the barbs. At me, at Nick Eden on Twitter. Fuck the barbs.
The barbs might come for you, boy.
I don't give a shit.
Nicki Minaj's music don't even slap like that, bro. I don't even know why. Why we. I mean, if you're gonna get mad about somebody, you know what I'm saying. If let's say, let's get Snow Allegra out here saying something crazy. She got good music. I mean, at least her music is good. You know what I'm saying? SZA, if she says something crazy, at least I can listen to her records and be like, well, I mean, she make good music. I mean, she might have something interesting.
I love Busta Rhymes, and we eviscerated him on this show.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of Busta Rhymes. And but anyway, I don't care about what none of these entertainers have to say, and I'm a rapper. So I don't give a fuck about what none of them got to say. And I don't want you to care about what I got to say about the damn virus. But I'm going to tell you this. Anything that I say is going to be well read. It's going to be actually researched. I'm not going to be saying just out here saying anything stupid. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, y'all listen to this show because y'all want to hear what we have to say about it. And that's what we got to say about it. Nicki Minaj, not to take away from Charlamagne the God, you get the biggest hee-haw in this motherfucker. You need to sit the fuck down. Sit the fuck down somewhere and stop that bullshit, okay? Anyway, man.
Drop a hot album. Drop a hot song. Stay in your
Ooh.
lane. Stay in your lane.
Why don't you drop?
Stay in your lane. Well,
I like that. The E-Man reference was good. Yeah,
thank you,
man.
Ivory.
Drop a damn song. Next time you drop a song about Street Fighter, actually talk about the game. Anyway, we gonna talk about you know what I'm saying? We had enough bullshit in the show.
Yeah.
So let's talk about something that we actually enjoyed this week. And let me tell you something. Marvel, you fucking did it again, man.
Okay.
Where's the Marvel? You know what? I already have the Disney Plus, so that's the partial part of the Marvel payment plan. I'm gonna need the rest of it. So what is the monthly cost that that I need to pay? I need it all in one app. I need the Marvel app. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't really need Disney Plus. I need the Marvel app. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I watch DuckTales, so I need the I need the Disney
I mean,
Plus
my
app,
daughter,
so
my daughter watches gummy bears and you know what I'm saying. But I mean, she would be just as happy with Coco Melon. Anyway, so anyway, the Marvel What If, bro. This week, I think that this is the best one. And I know we damn near say that
You're damn near say that every
week, but
no, I agree. Look,
man,
let me say something.
Robert Downey Jr. interacted with Michael B. Okay, spoiler warning. 5, 4,
Nigga, that shit
3,
came out last Wednesday. Fuck
2,
that.
1. Okay, let's go.
All right. So let me say this. Felt likes to watch What If at the end of the week.
Yeah.
Right. So
it's a
what
treat
we've been
for me.
used to, it's a treat for him at the end of the week, right?
It's a treat at the end of the week, yeah.
Marvel's What If comes out on Wednesdays, and they pretty much shifted to the Wednesday since what, Loki?
Mm-hmm.
All the other Disney Plus shows for Marvel
Friday.
were coming out on Friday.
Yeah.
Felt will tell you, I used to stay up until 2:00 in the morning on Thursday so I could watch the new shows.
And then he called me when I was at work, like early as hell on Friday morning, be like, "Hey, nigga, have you seen the Marvel blah blah blah?" And I'd be like, "Nah, bro, I'm just gonna watch it when I get home." And
I no longer.
I said, "Fuck that" this time.
Yeah, I no longer wait till 2 a.m, especially now on Tuesdays. Just because Tuesdays are like the Mondayest days on earth.
That would be ridiculous.
But I watch it on Wednesdays, period. When I saw this episode of What If, and I've been waiting on this episode of What If. And let me also say, we're only halfway through the season, by the way. We still have 6 more episodes to go.
Let's go.
So
yes,
this was so good. This was the first time. The last time I watched the show back to back when it came out was when the Kang episode of Loki came out. I've not watched anything back to back like that since. And this What If I watched back to back. Michael B. Jordan has, for me, sealed once again why Killmonger is one of the top 3 villains in the MCU for me. Period.
The chemistry between him and Robert Downey Jr. Because
it pisses me off why we never got to see that interaction live screen.
Yeah, man. I love that shit, bro. Anything that Robert Downey Jr. touches in the anytime Robert Downey Jr. is playing as Iron Man, it's like the best thing ever. And then when you add Killmonger and it's like the unassuming flip that ultimately occurs,
man,
and the way that Robert Downey Jr. played off of that, like in the end, man, I'm you know what, I gotta keep bigging up Robert Downey Jr. because he has the ability to deliver lines in a way, it's like they sound comedic, but he is so serious as hell. He is serious as hell, man. Like when he was like, "So what do you say to killers?" And he said that in a comedic tone, but it was still like, nigga, serious. I mean this with every fucking fiber of my being, nigga. Let killers?
Me say this. Talk about the fact that Killmonger took out Obadiah Stane, War Machine,
I just dropped that shit on Google.
Black Panther.
Go look it up.
Claw and Tony Stark in one episode. In one episode, he took down 5 major Marvel figures in one of the most strategic ways. And let me say this, had it not been, the one mistake he made was not thinking that in somehow, some way, that Shuri would not have been able to get footage of when he killed Black Panther. There would not be anything that
was
is an
actually
opposition.
Jarvis. That was actually Jarvis.
No. Remember, okay, if you remember on when Tony saw it, Jarvis had that footage.
Yeah.
But remember, Killmonger wiped Jarvis afterwards.
Yeah, that was afterwards. But like Jarvis caught the. What I'm saying is that Jarvis caught the footage of him, but he didn't account for the 2 different video sources catching
The
footage.
2 different the second video source was from Black Panther
from Shuri,
because it was him right on top of T'Challa like that. That's what I'm saying. If because he made up for the mistake with Jarvis because Tony let it out, but he did not make up for the mistake for Shuri catching it. If Shuri hadn't have caught it at the end, and there's no telling where it's going to go from here, but at the end of it, you know, this would have been just a complete washing. He would have just had no issues whatsoever. But to see Queen Mother leading the army against the drones, I could see Angela Bassett doing this.
Dog, you know what kind of shape Angela Bassett is in.
Yes.
I could absolutely see her doing this. Like, it's not even that far-fetched. But man, when I tell you she played that role, whew, man,
bruh,
that was beautiful, man. Like that whole sequence was just beautiful. When she started crying and was like, "For T'Challa," and I was like, "Oh man."
If they would have extended, if this would have been a live action, this plot line as a live action version,
oh my god,
this could actually rival, in my opinion, the original Black Panther movie.
Yeah.
Killmonger, they have got to find a way for Michael B. Jordan to come back.
But the thing is,
it's too fucking good.
Without Black Panther, you wouldn't have had the basis to understand everything that was going on in the Marvel What If. Like you need Black Panther in order to, you know, fully grasp the gravity of what's happening.
No, and, I get that. Yeah. I get that. I'm just saying that if this would have been a standalone movie, I think it could have rivaled Black Panther.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if there's one thing I could say that is a criticism of mine of Black Panther, is that every major villain, with the exception of Namor, was taken out in the first Black Panther. Everyone. You took out Man-8, M'Baku. You took out Killmonger. You took out Claw. So it only left Namor, which, you know, by all accounts, we're going to see in Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Is Dr. Doom? I thought Dr. Doom was also, I mean, I know he's a Fantastic Four villain, but I also thought that he was a villain of Wakanda.
He was a villain of Wakanda, and actually in the comics for a time, Dr. Doom was the king of Wakanda.
Wow.
Yes.
That's disturbing.
That is very disturbing.
Very.
So yes, he was, but when you look at the hierarchy of, like, okay, everybody has their main, like, you know, Batman has the Joker, the Riddler, Two-Face, and Penguin, right?
Yeah.
And then you have like Poison Ivy, Dr. Freeze. Like you have some of the ones that are just like their mainstay villains. Black Panther's mainstay villain, like Claw, is Black Panther's Joker.
Well, honestly, and this is no disrespect to the character of Black Panther. I understand that the Reginald Hudlin run was big back in the day, and I forgot the other who was before him. But just the same way that Marvel was able to take those B and C characters, in the beginning and make the Avengers the biggest franchise, in the history of, in movie history, like as far as superheroes go, well, really anything. They could have done the same thing with a different villain, for Black Panther, because I mean, yeah, Black Panther has a loyal fan base in theory, but not in truth. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people say they go up for Black Panther because he's a black character in the Marvel universe, but a whole lot of folks ain't reading books. Like, I mean, you did the reading, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna sit up there and lie. Like, I saw the animated cartoon, like the one that BET put out, like probably a few years ago.
Yeah.
I saw that one, the Reginald Hudlin one. You know what I'm saying? Full disclosure, like I didn't, I didn't read the comics like that. I mean, I had a few Black Panther comics when I was growing up, but
I
not
read
enough
them
to keep
shits.
up. Not enough to keep up with the storylines, because it just wasn't the medium that I was into, like that back then. You know what I'm saying? Not that I didn't think it was cool, but it was just like I was into other shit. I was into video games and shit. So I couldn't do both. Anyway, but I just said all that to say I feel like you could definitely, even though Black Panther has Killmonger as like his main villain, you definitely could have inserted other Marvel characters, especially the
No,
way
no,
that they're
no.
building their universe. It would have definitely they definitely could put like Doom in place. Like, fuck Doom,
Let me tell you something.
man, dog, that would have been
With
crazy.
the setup with it, and this is part of the reason. This is part of the reason, and I get it. I understand that everybody's emotionally connected to it. I will stand by my statement that he would have wanted the character to go on, that they should have recast T'Challa, because if you read the comics, there's so much that is connected that they could have used as source materials to further along the MCU based on Black Panther. And when I say Black Panther, I mean T'Challa, that a lot of that opportunity is now lost. Here's the reason I say that. Because you're right, they could have. We know that Namor is going to be the next villain in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. If they're going to finish out the trilogy, you also have to look at it from the standpoint of what could have been, because T'Challa's marriage to Storm would have been a prime introduction. Because when you think about it, think of it from this standpoint. Riri Williams is now cast in Wakanda. The character for Riri Williams is now cast in Wakanda Forever, which means we're going to get Ironheart, right? T'Challa marrying Storm in the comics led to the Wakanda versus the X-Men, which ultimately could lead to, because let's be real, one of those Avengers movies is going to have to be the Avengers versus the X-Men when they get firmly established. That was a direct pathway to it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Add to the fact that they've already said there's going to be a Disney Plus series that is simply about Wakanda after Black Panther Wakanda Forever comes out. There's just so much that ties into it that T'Challa makes a tie into it. Now, I get your point about the comic readers, but this is where the comic readers have a little bit of backlash. And I think, unfortunately, it's got a little convoluted in terms of why this person or why that person, because the whole theory about Shuri becoming the next Black Panther, which is what it looks like it's setting up to be, no, everybody that is against it is not chauvinistic. The people who read the source material know that, yeah, in the comics, the Shuri that's in the comics is completely different than the Shuri that is in the MCU. The Shuri that's in the comics, yes, because people keep referencing it. Well, Shuri was Black Panther. Well, you got to talk about the Shuri that's in the comics. The Shuri that's in the comics was ruthless. The Shuri that was in the comics had T'Challa watching his back because he knew at any moment his sister could turn on him, which she did a few times. When Wesley Snipes, to give everybody context, when Wesley Snipes wanted to produce, because see, Blade was the compromise of not being able to do Black Panther in the 90s. That is the movie that Wesley Snipes wanted to do. The casting for Shuri was going to be Grace Jones. If that gives you any type of indication, Grace Jones is who he wanted to play Shuri. So now when you take it into context, because I don't think anybody would, from a warrior standpoint, if anybody would have been like, okay, God damn it, Okeo wants to be, it should be the next Black Panther, or even Nakia.
Yeah.
Could have been the next. There's a warrior aspect to it that Shuri just doesn't have. So that's what I'm saying. Like, we have
She's
to
more
be
like
very,
a brain character.
yeah, and unless Black Panther is going to take more of an Iron Man turn, which it could actually be. but that kind of takes away the lore of Black Panther, which only leaves us with that first movie, which is why I think it was a disservice a little bit to say, okay, we're not going to recast T'Challa, because I think Chadwick would have wanted that.
And honestly, I feel like the way that they were painting Shuri, in her like aesthetic, I feel like she was coming into her own type of character. You know what I'm saying? Like with the arm lasers and stuff like that. Like that was her version of, you know, that was her fighting style. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if they try to just shoehorn her into a Black Panther costume, it's kind of just gonna be it's gonna be weird. I mean, she's gonna have. I mean, there's gonna have to be a big turn of events. I don't know. I mean, I trust Ryan Coogler and I trust the staff at Marvel because I mean they haven't let us down, in a big way. And I don't feel like that they would let us down with their biggest franchise, single character franchise to date. So I just want to see what happens and what plays out. I
Yeah,
honestly feel like, I honestly feel like, I'm not up on the casting news and all that stuff like that. Well, I mean, I hear about the casting news, but I mean, me just purely throwing out some speculation and what I know about what's about to happen. Um, we have a multiverse theory, going on right now. Um, so they could absolutely, I feel like they could recast T'Challa, you know, in a way, and have him come from another universe, and it could be a totally different, actor. It could be a totally different set of circumstances. I feel like that would be a beautiful twist. And but I know with all the casting and the stuff, the real world stuff that's going on, it kind of takes away from the fantasy of that happening. But I feel like that would be a cool twist. That's just me.
yo, I'll say this much. To one, I agree with your point, which is why I had always advocated that maybe they push Black Panther back and they do the Wakanda series first, so you can
Yeah,
see the development of Shuri as a warrior, and you have some time to flesh out
to make her that. Yeah.
to make her that, and then also instead of trying to explain away what happened to T'Challa in one movie, you can do this and have her go through her grieving period and her warrior period over
Hmm.
the course of the next, you know, 8 to 10 episodes of a Disney Plus series, and then have the culmination of that be like the very last episode. You finally see Shuri suit up as Black Panther, and then that leads into the movie.
Yeah.
But again, to your point, I do trust Ryan Coogler. I just had a thought. What if,
Yeah.
what if this will be my way of bringing back Michael B. Jordan, because I think he's a phenomenal character.
Yeah.
What if, using your multiverse theory, there was another universe where Njobu was the king of Wakanda, and it was actually
Mm,
T'Chaka who went as a war dog over there. And
wow.
so now you've got Killmonger growing up
In Wakanda
in Wakanda
as a good guy.
as a good guy.
Yeah.
Or if he said as a young person, look, I want to go and I want to be a war dog. He sent him to the United States, and he said, because I still think there's a brilliant part that everybody seems to sleep on when it comes to Killmonger, of how not only how educated he was great as a warrior, but you're also talking about top honors at Annapolis, top honors MIT. We're talking about a guy with genius level intellect. What
Right.
if he sent him to the States to, to train and to study there? Like, there's a way to bring a good Killmonger back, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that, anyway, like I said, or whatever the case may be.
His character by nature is a tragedy of circumstances. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Like he definitely could come back. Now, my only thing about that, bringing Killmonger back, I don't know if Michael B. Jordan would be able to pull off the accent. You know what I'm saying? Now, the only way that they would be able to get away with that is if they did send him over there as a young person, and he grew up in the United States as a war
mm-hmm.
dog. You know what I'm saying? They could get away with doing that. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, No, I can see. I got plenty of theories about it. I don't want to spend just like an inordinate amount of time because we can
Yeah,
turn this
yeah.
into a whole conspiracy
We
theory show.
we've already spent a whole lot of time
Yeah,
on the Marvel What If. Anyway, Marvel What If is great.
it's
Is
phenomenal.
is
Absolutely,
phenomenal, guys. Man, y'all should check it out. If you're not checking it out and you call yourself a Marvel fan, what are you
you're not.
doing? You're not. I mean, you're not. Okay. So anyway, so now we had one thing. Now, Nick, you were talking about you got into a little thing on Facebook, man. Could you explain to the people what that was like?
This is why I'm starting to stay away from it. I can't stay away from it at this point. So, okay. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been working with a nonprofit in my hometown, Beta Nu Theta Academy.
Yeah.
It is designed to help mentor young men and women at the middle school and high school age, and helping them matriculate into college, particularly centered around HBCUs. Uh, so, over the last few weeks, I would say over the last 2 weeks, really. Um, what I've been doing is gathering a lot of info for high school seniors about getting them into college, and it's had me spending a lot of times in some of the Facebook groups that are geared towards HBCU alumni. One being HBC Alumni United, and so there was a thread about the Howard versus Hampton game, which is a big rivalry. Who's the real HU and this, that, and the third, and that's all. That's all fine and dandy. That's cool. I think in the South we smack talk a little bit more between schools, and it's it gets a little crazy, but it's still all in love, all in fun. Especially the SWAC. We SWAC can go at it. So
Mhm.
the conversation was about the bands and which band was bigger. There was a lady, I won't say a young lady, she's significantly older, but she went as far as to say, why are we having a conversation about the band? You don't major in band. HBCUs are about academics. Let's stop talking about the band and let's talk about academics. And let me say this to everyone else's credit. They've been ripping her up in the comments.
Good.
Period.
Good. 'Cause we
They've been
need
ripping her up in the comments. I think, and what got to me the most about this is you and I have seen this. They have steadily, it's mentalities like this that have steadily cut the arts from our schools on the middle school and high school level.
as if the arts aren't valuable.
As if the arts aren't valuable, or
Yeah.
if for whatever reason that music is not considered academia. Because if you don't have that, you don't have composition. You cannot tell. There's not a person on this planet where music is not involved in somewhat in their lives, whether it's a traditional tribal song, whether it's something they use for entertainment, anything of that. If you've been through an American school system, then you've known this: A B C D E F G H I. You know the alphabet because it was sung to you. It takes away from the accomplishment of those band directors, which for our HBCUs in particular, there are bands that bring in millions of dollars per year in revenue to the school. So
Yo,
this short-sighted ass view that people tend to have of music programs.
dog. Researchers found that learning music facilitates other learning other subjects and enhances skills that children inevitably use in other areas. A music-rich experience for children of singing, listening, and moving is really bringing a serious benefit to children as they progress into more formal learning. And that's on pbs.org. National Association of Music Merchants. So I just wanted to add that tidbit so to let you guys know that there's actual research that of the benefits of music education. So
Mm-hmm.
and the same thing with other arts too. You know what I mean? It's people like this are very short sighted. They probably are lame. You know what I'm saying? Like they probably don't have no friends.
What gets me about this, and again, this woman who said this is a graduate of Tuskegee, and let me say, I know we're supposed to have this faux Alabama State Tuskegee rivalry. I know many people who matriculated at Tuskegee who are productive members of society. I know some
Yeah, good
great
people.
Tuskegee alums,
Yeah,
great Tuskegee alums,
good folks.
wonderful. It's an amazing school,
Right.
largely driven by its music programs.
Mm. Say
So
that.
my question is, I get it. It bugs me because she's older, and I say she's at least 20 years older than us. How many students has she indoctrinated with this kind of thought process over the years? As Steve Harvey calls them, how many times has somebody like this dream killing heifer infected students that are coming up who look at her because she is a product of Tuskegee, one of the premier institutions in this country, HBCU or not?
Yeah.
How many people, I mean, y'all got that little dark spot because Derek Jackson is a Tuskegee alum. But my point is,
You had to bring that up, didn't you?
I had to bring that up. I should have done the show from the car. But
Damn.
how many people has she infected with this thought process?
Oh my God.
And how
funny.
many of those people have gone on and into education and supported killing of these arts programs because it's not considered academia? We already got enough issues that we got to deal with HBCUs in general, right?
Yeah.
We're not equally funded the same way that other, particularly our public institutions, when it comes to federal funding, we're not funded the same way that other public institutions of equal size are funded. We are often looked at as second class or second tier schools. It's so many issues. And so for you to come in and say something like that, it's asinine. It's ridiculous. I'm glad that there were 94 replies completely obliterating this idiot.
Yeah. Yeah. Very
And
short-sighted.
oh my God. And I'm just looking, we have a mutual
It's
friend.
probably more than that now.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much more than that. I'm sick of it, man. I'm sick of. There are things about HBCUs that should be criticized. This ain't one. And a conversation in a group coming off of on a Sunday, coming off of a Saturday where most HBCUs play. Who are you to bring your ass in there and tell people what they should be talking about? I'm so sick of folks trying to regulate what people are talking about. This is ridiculous. It's just
That's what they feel like their role is, bro. Like, I don't know. I mean, that's probably why I stay out of them rooms, because it pisses me off. So I just move on. You know what I'm saying?
I'm so
Dog, it's just, it's ridiculous, man. Like, some people just see things in one way. I mean, it's just like how we growing up, and people tell us now the only way to be successful is to go to school, get a job, and work that job until you retire or whatever, and that's the only way to make it in life. When we know that there are other paths that you can take to be successful.
But here's the thing. I think this is what pisses me off. If you're saying that, why is it that we as Black folks get tasked with one way of doing things? Because for you to say that then would say that there's no point for Juilliard to exist. There's no point for the Boston Conservatory of Music to exist. There's no point of Berklee School of Music existing. Why is it that when it comes to Black folks, there's just one type of way to be Black and successful?
Because it's anti-Blackness, man. People try to equate, like, I mean, I see it all the time, and it bothers me when I see people like, oh, you can be, more than a singer or a rapper, like, as to say, as if to say that being a singer or a rapper is bad. Now, I understand that there are, much more paths that we can take, but you don't have to downplay or minimize
Those
people who,
paths.
those other paths. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to minimize the paths of musicians as if they're less than or something like that. Like, everybody has different paths to walk in life, man. I mean, just some people just tighten the ass. That's all it is. They just
And
tighten the
again,
ass.
how many dreams have you killed in the process? And I because I deal with a lot of these youth almost on a daily basis at this point, it makes me wonder how many more people's dreams were killed. How many more folks' dreams were killed because of people like this?
A
How many
lot.
people who could have had an amazing career as a band director, as a choir director? Because there's just not one way to do music. It's not always about being a music teacher, being
You don't always have to be an
an
entertainer.
engineer.
Like yeah, you could be a recording engineer. You could be, you know what I'm saying, like a jazz musician. You could be, an instructor of a certain instrument. Um, you could teach private lessons to people because
Listen,
people have found a lot of value in that. I mean, you could be a
I
church musician, like,
listen. I
and they
love
make
my
bank.
black folks. Thank you. Church musicians make bank.
Yeah,
I love my black folks. But one thing that we have to stop doing, we have to stop killing the dreams of our children just because they don't align with the path that our lives have taken.
yeah. It's short sightedness, man. It's just strictly short sightedness. I mean, there's a young lady I know, like who, was interested in, doing going into microbiology, and when she was going to college, her parents say black folks don't do stuff like that.
The
You need
dumbest
to look
shit.
into you need to look into criminal justice, or what was the other one they said, you need to look into criminal justice, or something, teaching or education or something like that, you know what I'm saying,
And
like,
this is the
so,
reason.
and that affects this young lady to this day, you know what I'm saying, so like we got to stop killing our kids dreams, just like you said, man, like it's ridiculous, man, and
And
people
that
like
is the
this need
reason
to
right
stop.
now at Alabama State, we have an occupational therapy program that, much like the occupational therapy industry overall, is represented at only 3% African American. That entire department is full of white, East Indian, and West African immigrants.
It's terrible.
And black people are on that campus. And I'm not finna diss anybody's. Look, we'll say underwater basket weaving because I don't want to diss anybody's major.
Yeah.
We get into these majors that are not high producing. So I love talking with my nieces because they're not playing. These one of my nieces just told me, she was like, no, I want to be an aerospace engineer. I'm like, you go to girl,
Yeah.
you do your thing. You get what I'm
You do your
saying?
thing for real.
Like that is, again, just because you don't understand it does not mean that you have to kill someone's dream.
Exactly.
Why don't you try looking the shit up for yourself and trying to guide that child, because that's something that they're on a career path to. Because when they go to these schools and they have a terrible experience because that's not what they wanted to do, and they have a terrible career because that's not what they wanted to do, then you're going to blame them
for not trying
because somehow it's not their fault. Because your short-sighted ass got into a career that you couldn't excel at, that you didn't want to be in the first place because you were too afraid to follow your damn dreams.
Yeah.
And that's not what our HBCUs are supposed to be about. Our HBCUs are to give our children a chance. That's why and how they were founded. And all we've done is turned into the same oppressors who didn't want us going to those PWIs to begin with.
Exactly.
Think about the HBCUs. Think about our age group. And even from a TV standpoint, I want to transition this into our Go Hot, but think about how just seeing those influenced us, right? Watching a different world, watching School Days, and even later on, like watching movies like Stomp the Yard and Drumline. I know a whole generation of band students who were inspired to go to a HBCU just because of Drumline.
Wow, that's crazy.
You got to think Drumline and Stomp the Yard influence the generation that's at college right now. You talking about Drumline came out in 2002. I think Stomp the Yard came out. It was later, but I forget exactly when it came out. Those kids were like, yo, it was that movie. It was Drumline that made me want to go to Alabama State. It was Drumline that made me want to go to FAMU and Clark and Southern and Grambling and Jackson State, Alcorn, Tennessee State, Howard, Hampton. The list goes on. It was that. It's one of the reasons that, shout out to Kappa Kappa Psi, the National Honorary Band Fraternity. They had an explosion in membership because people thought that was a made up fraternity like G5G was, even though there's actually Groove Fi Groove, but that's a whole nother story.
G5G, that's where I want to be.
But it was an explosion of African American members joining Kappa Kappa Psi after Drumline came out, because they were like, oh snap, this is a real fraternity. And Kappa Kappa Psi is one of the most respected non-D9 fraternities on HBCU campuses. Like, you have to realize the influence and the record enrollment that happens, because let's be honest, at the high schools, they're not pushing HBCUs, bro. They're pushing Alabama, they're pushing Ole Miss, they're pushing Georgia State and Georgia Tech. They're pushing these schools that give them these kickbacks. They're pushing USM, they're pushing USA. They're LSU. They're not pushing our schools. So I think it is incumbent on us to realize the influence that not only music makes, but that media overall makes in our decision making and going forward, and what it is that we actually do with our lives, and stop killing these kids' dreams. Period. So, okay. So on that note, I do want to say that there's a ton of kids that, and shout out to the Common Black College app. It's an app that has 65 member schools, all HBCUs, and for one price, one application fee, instead of doing like $35 every one, people can actually go and they can apply to all 65 member schools for one price, for $20. It's kids, man. The acceptances for the fall of 2022 are already start to come in now. I'm starting to see kids now got their first, and shout out to Alabama State, Alabama A&M, and UAPB, University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, because their recruitment teams have been really proactive about getting a lot of these kids in, getting some scholarship money in for them. Man, we got to do for our kids, man. We got to do for our kids. And I think that kind of takes us into our go hot for the day.
Yes,
Phil,
sir.
what we got, bro?
Yo, man. So today, you know what I'm saying, we all have movies. We all know movies that highlight the Black college experience. But what do we think about those schools associated with those movies? You know what I'm saying? Like, not just movies, some of them TV shows. So we're gonna talk about the best fictional Black colleges today for the Go Hot. So the first one is, you know it, you love it, you've all seen it. You know what I mean? Especially if you're in our age range. If you're a little younger, you've probably seen it too. Hillman from a different world. I know, we have mixed feelings on the origins of the show, but we can all agree that the show was very integral in letting us see the Black college experience on TV for the first time. Um, so the second one, uh, we all joke on Nick Cannon and we talk about how corny he is, but I mean, what he did when he did the Drumline, movie, everybody was loving it. Everybody was on it. This is not revisionist history. Like, it was one of the biggest things that happened. What was that? 2003 when that happened?
02.
Yeah, it was.
I will say this before we. Well, no, I'll say that. I'll say it in my assessment. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So we have Atlanta A&T from Drumline. That was a very interesting school. On that movie. Now, I didn't really see this movie that much, so I don't really have much to say about it. But we got Truth University. Now Stomp the Yard. Was the movie that was on. And we have, I'm gonna tell you right now, this one is Stan. Wake Up from the man Lawrence Fishburne. Mission College from that movie School Days. Boy, that was one of Spike Lee's best works, if you ask me. I like that movie a lot, man. So we got Hillman, Atlanta A&T, Truth University, and Mission College. So I gotta say, Nicholas, which one of these schools go hot and which ones go home in the HBCU fantasy realm?
All right. So this might throw some folks off. The first one that has to stay is probably the most beloved fictional HBCU, to the point that people buy the shirts till this day.
Mm. Mm.
Hillman College.
Okay.
Hillman College.
Gotta stay.
It's gotta stay.
Gotta stay.
It's given us amazing alums like Dwayne Wayne
And Kimberly Reese.
Jaleesa Vincent,
and Kimberly Reese.
Ron Johnson, Kimberly Reese. I had a thing for that. I still have a thing for that woman. Yes. Goodness grace.
And Freddie.
What was that? And Fred. I don't know what Freddie's last name is. It don't matter.
He's always called her Freddie.
He's always called her Freddie. Lena James. Who went on to marry the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Wow.
No. So yeah.
Smith.
Hillman has to stay. Definitely. And if I were in this fictional universe, or if these schools were real, I would have had to say, out of all these schools, I would have chosen to go to Hillman College, but only after I marched 1 year at the next school, which is Atlanta A&T. It's gotta stay.
Yeah.
Atlanta A&T has got to stay. We call Nick Cannon corny all we want to.
Yeah.
That man made a movie that stood the test of time. Yeah. And it was an amazing movie. I appreciate him for it. Atlanta A&T, I would have had to march in the band my freshman year, then I would have transferred to Hillman.
You were in band, so is it authentic? It was the crab experience somewhat authentic?
No.
Okay.
No. No, crab experience wasn't authentic, and the crab, it wasn't authentic because it had to be watered down for mass consumption. Little known fact, the movie Drumline was actually inspired by another movie that was made by an Alabama State alum called Pay the Price.
Wow.
So Atlanta A&T is actually a direct what they would have marched in something, but they are shout out to the Alabama State University Mighty Marching Hornets,
yes,
which is what Drumline was based off of. So Atlanta A&T has to stay next. That leaves Truth University and Mission College. So let me start by saying this. School Days is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yes, sir.
I love it. I've got a feeling. I've got a feeling, brothers. I got a feeling. Somebody's trying to sneak in my frat. Anyway, but
ain't gonna be no shit like
that. That being said, I gotta go to Truth University so I can play the Thetas. We rep the Thetas. So yeah, I'm sorry. Mission, you gotta go. Truth University, what? You're in.
What? With the swerve.
Yes, sir.
With the swerve. Yes, sir. Oh my God. So okay, for me, I gotta say, this is gonna be quick because I mean, honestly, I ain't really seen Stomp the Yard for real. I saw the second one. I ain't really care. So so you already know what's going on. But I gotta tell you why these other ones are staying. Hillman is the, quintessential Black college experience that made me want to go to an HBCU when I was growing up. Like, I was like, man, this is cool, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people out there just doing their thing, and it was just a beautiful thing, man. Like, so Hillman got to stay. Atlanta A&T, now I played snare drum in high school, and I ain't read music. So I looked at myself kind of in a Devin Miles kind of character. That was personally kind of close to me because like I didn't read music or whatever, and I did just
music.
Huh?
You didn't read music?
No, man. I just learned it. I just learned the cadences.
Wow.
And yeah, I was look, man. Like, I mean, this was in high school, but I definitely was. I mean, I learned how to read the sheet music, but I didn't. It didn't stick, man. And then you know what I'm saying. Like I just play by ear, like just how I do everything else. I play by ear. So
Wow.
Atlanta A&T, that's got to stay, because like I enjoyed just seeing that on screen, you know, and also seeing how he grew into himself in the course of that movie, and just the coolness of the college itself. It just seemed like a cool place to be at. So go ahead.
And Zoe Saldana.
Absolutely, Zoe Saldana, who was part of what sorority was she a part of? Was that real?
No, it wasn't real.
Okay, yeah.
We got the next time we talk about HBCUs, we got to do fictional fraternities and sororities.
Yeah, we got to do them. Okay, so the next one, that's got to stay because G5G. That's what I want to be. G5G. Man, Mission College, dog. Like, yo, that was I love the ridiculousness that went on in Mission College. Like when old boy went to the girls' dorm trying to holler at, trying to holler at old girl. I don't remember none of these.
Oh, but no, see.
And then and then all the women,
I didn't care.
dog, they just came out there and started roasting, bro. And I was like, man, this is so funny, even though it was ridiculous and it didn't seem realistic. It was very like theatrical, feeling. But I was like, it would be cool to just go around, on a campus and just have weird little shit like this happening all over the place. Like I said, didn't see Stomp the Yard, but I do have to add an honorable mention. My honorable mention is the college on House Party 2. You know what I'm saying? Because um, even though I don't think that was an HBCU particularly, everything that was in that movie was the black experience of that college. You know what I'm saying? Like it was black people all up in the dorm rooms. It was all the instructors that really mattered, except that one. There was this one white guy. That was the only white guy that was in that college experience was white. But the instructors were black. Everybody else was black in that movie. So I got to give the honorable mention to that school, whatever the hell the name of that school was.
Wait, okay. What was the
House
movie
Party
again?
2 school.
Yeah, nobody knows it. Nobody knows
When he was, you know what I'm saying, the security force was black, like Stab and all them cats, they was black running around campus, being silly and stupid. And the brother,
I remember.
probably the precursor to Mr. Gaines from Hillman College, is a different world.
No. Remember, Different World came out before
Different World too. Yeah, Different World was first, but they probably so somebody's character might have been based off the other one. So that brother, who was a straight up military drill sergeant, took that damn cafeteria serious, had the badges to go with it, and the golden hairnet.
Yeah. Look, shout out to the honorable
mention. But Truth University, you gotta go because I ain't really seen Stomp the Yard. So I mean, you gotta go.
Brother, you gotta watch Stomp the Yard, man.
I saw Stomp the Yard too, and I ain't really care.
Watching Stomp the Yard 2 is like watching House Party 4. Like you can't.
Wow.
You gotta watch the original, bro.
Yeah.
If you watch the original Stomp the Yard, I'm telling you, I think that I promise you, it will change your perception on it. Okay. Truth University was an actual HBCU. I gotta give. If we're talking honorable mentions, I gotta give a shout out to GAMU, Georgia A&M.
What is that off of?
It is off the BET show. Oh my God! Wait! It's gonna kill me. No. Hold on. Damn it. I can't. So show is on BET. The Quad. The Quad.
Oh, the Quad. Okay.
That was the fictional HBCU in it. Atlanta seems to have all the fictional HBCUs. But
that's where everybody want to be at.
Right. Mission College, GAMU, Atlanta A&T, all them joints were there. So yeah. Listen, it's funny, it's hilarious, and we can talk about it all day. Support your HBCUs.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
12% of African Americans attend HBCUs, yet it produces 50% of Black professionals in this country, including 85% of Black doctors, 70% of Black lawyers, 70% of Black dentists, 50% of Black teachers. What I'm telling you is that's how integral they are. Even though 12% of African Americans attend HBCUs, only 12, which it should be higher, it still accounts for 20% of the baccalaureate degrees that are matriculated to African American students in this country. Wow. So you have a higher percentage of graduating. And statistics have shown that HBCU graduates make an average of $972,000 more over their lifetime than their PWI counterparts. And that's nothing to that's no diss to anybody that went to a PWI, but HBCUs are not just secondary schools. They're there for a reason. They show us excellence. You are looking at two products of HBCUs, and I will always ride for HBCUs.
Now you know you have to drop where that resource came from. So
that is the U.S. Bureau. That is the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics. You can gladly go and check for yourself.
Real sources. We not just talking here.
Right. If you'd like to look at a more simplified version of it, you can look at blackdemographics.com, which will also link you back to the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. So, man, we got another one in the books here, man. I know this one ran real long.
So our last few shows been running damn near 2 hours.
Yeah, man. But you know what though? It's good because you know what I'm saying, we still parse out our subjects. And I think we getting better at this, man. What you think?
I think so too.
I think we getting better at this, bro. So
I'm
yeah,
very
man.
much so proud.
Yeah, man. So you know, you normally ask me this. So what's your plans for next week?
My plans for next week are real simple, man. I got some more content that I'm dropping on my YouTube channel. I got some more content that I'm dropping on my Instagram channel as well. You know, we are 11 days out from Q4. I loaded up over the weekend. I've loaded up 430 designs. Look like.
Oh boy.
Onto Amazon.
Over the weekend.
Oh, I ain't playing. Felt, I'm not playing with y'all. I'm not playing. Listen.
It's money time.
Let me tell y'all my goal. My goal is for the month of November alone. My goal is 10 grand. I'm not playing with y'all.
Ooh, the money.
I ain't playing with $5. And when I say that's my goal for the month, I'm not talking about 10,000 in sales.
You're talking about 10,000 in royalties.
I'm talking about 10,000 in royalties.
Got it. Yeah,
I ain't playing with y'all.
It's doable, dog.
I ain't playing with y'all out in these streets.
Yes, sir. Take all that knowledge that you've accumulated and just apply.
Show y'all asses how to do it too, because you can do it too.
Yes, sir.
Other than that, you know, I got a couple of Zoom calls with some recruiters because I really am trying to get a lot of these students placed into these schools. So I would say this actionable step: if you would check out commonblackcollegeapp.com. Also, if you want to reach out to me specifically about it, let me give you our handles first. The Zoommates, at Zoommates on Instagram, at Felt5, at Nick Eden for our personal pages, YouTube, the Zoommates podcast, and for the audio version, anchor.fm/Zoommates. If you have a graduating senior, high school senior, that is interested in attending college and you'd like to know some more information about scholarships, about schools that have extracurricular programs, ways that you can get, because we all don't have a bunch of money like that. College is not cheap. Then hit me up on Instagram at Nick Eden. I will send over an interest form that we have through Beta Nu Theta Academy, and we'll get you the information that you need. This is not a service that's going to cost you. There is a cost with submitting your application with the Common Black College app, but this is not a service that Beta Nu Theta is doing that we're going to charge you for. We genuinely want, because Beta Nu Theta, our executive board, 5 or 6 of the people on the executive board are HBCU alums, and we genuinely want to see our children thrive in an environment that can help them matriculate into the type of professional that we're looking for out of our children and get the best out of them. So by all means, and we'll also be sponsoring. We're going to sponsor more right now. We're sponsoring. We're going to sponsor 5 kids to do their application. So we're going to start. I'm going to throw in maybe about 5 more, and just I want to see if we can get at least 50 kids sponsored to do their application through Common Black College app. So because hell, $20 is that ain't that's something that's for some folks $20 ain't no joke. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, absolutely.
So we want to make sure that if the only thing that keeps your child from getting into school, getting into a good school, and possibly some scholarship money is $20, we want to eliminate that. Period. So yeah, man, that's what I got up this week, man. So I'm getting on the money side, but I'm also on my volunteer shit this week too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What you got up this week, Felt Five?
That sounds so much more productive and epic than what I'm doing. I'm just
Oh man,
and
please.
look, I'm just trying to get this new business venture off the ground. This is gonna be my first week fully doing my own business venture. So I mean, like I said, wish your boy luck. Stream Unsafe Harbor, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all for everything. You know what I'm saying? Thank y'all for the listens. You know what I'm saying? We scaling up, we doing this. If y'all have been here with us for this long, we really appreciate y'all listening. And that's all, man. That's all I got to say. So hey,
one up, one down. We appreciate everybody for taking almost 2 hours out of your day to listen to the Zoommates podcast. Again, this is a podcast where we're just trying not to get canceled. And every week we're going to give you unfiltered, uncut, what we think, what we believe, but also we're going to give you some sources. So at the very least, you can be informed for yourself. And with that, we will see you all same time next week. Take care.
Take care.